I know I'm not the only adult that sits in their car wondering how they're making the most money they've ever made in their entire life, and it still doesn't seem to be enough.
You're telling me there's an influencer who's complaining about paying a mortgage when she used to make $350,000 a month?
The amount of 18 to 30-year-olds that I see on this app bitching about how unaffordable life is in 2025 is wild. There is a noticeable difference between people my age and people 18 to 30 now. All of these videos that I've seen, I've deduced it down to one thing.
Everything's getting more expensive, right? Groceries, rent, gas, you name it. But here's the thing. It's not just inflation, it's us. Yes, people are struggling more than ever in 2025, and yeah, the cost of living is ridiculous, but somewhere along the way, we've normalized living way beyond our means. We've convinced ourselves that every coffee run, every new car, every new cell phone, even every monthly subscription is a necessity, and it adds up really fast. The truth is, most of us are trapped in a cycle of spending money we don't really have just to keep up with a lifestyle that we don't actually need. From marketing that makes you feel behind to convenience products designed to keep you buying, it's no accident that most people feel broke. Today, we're breaking down why everything feels unaffordable and how much of it is the world's fault versus our own spending habits. Anyways, let me know what you consider necessities down in the comments section below. I am really curious to see what you guys say. Otherwise, let's get right into today's episode.
I know I'm not the only adult that sits in their car wondering how they're making the most money they've ever made in their entire life, and it still doesn't seem to be enough. My rent is $2,000 a month, and I live in a townhouse. My car note is $535 a month, and that's on the low end compared to what I see a lot of people pay. My car...
Well, here we are with the comparison game all the time. This is going to be a hard episode for me to get through and let the videos play out, but let's just stop right there. Honestly, $2,000 a month for a townhome is pretty reasonable, but the $500+ car payment is insane, regardless of how you want to justify it. Stop comparing yourself to other people. It is going to be the downfall of why you can never get ahead financially.
Insurance is $370 between two vehicles. And every time I fucking turn around, that shit's going up, and they can't even tell you why, other than that the rates have increased. Fucking why? And then you got some fucking orange man in office trying to convince you that your grocery bill has decreased, but I just went and spent $100 on fucking chips, bread, bananas, apples, some fucking muffins, and hamburger meat. Oh, don't forget the $10 eggs. My HOA just decided to charge me $100 because I left my garbage can sitting out in front of my house for a couple of days because I needed to let it dry after dumping it with bleach because there were maggots in there. You rent from these companies and they penny pinch you on every fucking thing that they can. We are being bullied into poverty by these corporations and billionaires. And we have somebody in office gaslighting us in our face, telling us, oh, no, you're not. I don't understand how the families that are living off $15 an hour, like, how are you doing it? How do you pay your rent? What do you do when your car breaks down? I don't know, dude. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I'm blessed compared to a lot of people, and it's still fucking hard.
Yeah, see, interesting. She brought up a lot of very good points. And I see this time and time and time again from the hundreds of thousands of videos that I've watched so far, as well as real life experience. Real life talking with friends and family and colleagues and coworkers and friends of friends and acquaintances. I always hear it. I always see it, and I think of it in the back of my head because advice is best given when asked for. Otherwise, like nobody wants unsolicited advice. Nobody wants to be told what to do unless they ask for it. So, you know, I have you guys pinned here. You guys are selectively choosing to hear my advice, but here's the thing. Lifestyle creep is real, and her and a lot of other people have this problem and do not realize it. See, the issue is, and I see it all the time with friends and family, the second they get a raise, they go out and spend more money. The second they get a promotion or a new job and they get more money than what they had before, They increase their lifestyle to essentially match the amount of money that they are making, and whoop, they're back to where they began with, or worse off. They have to start dabbling in debt. So she's here comparing, well, my car payment of $550 isn't that bad because Jenny down the block has an $800 car payment. So I don't see the issue. You gotta stop comparing your life to others. The consumerism will absolutely destroy you. And we are living in a time where consumerism, hyper-consumerism is at an all-time high, and it is getting worse and worse and worse. And it is very easy to get sucked into it. So my advice to her is you gotta figure out what your luxuries and necessities are. And it's tough. If you're gonna live in an HOA, with a $2,000 a month rent, which honestly isn't that bad, but then pay $500 something for a car payment and then have, $350 car insurance. Like, we can try to find ways to reduce all of these costs. We can buy a used vehicle. There are used, safe, reliable cars out there. You don't need to get a new car every 3 years. I promise you, a 5, 10, 15-year-old car is just as reliable. And her point about groceries, that's an interesting one. Prices are definitely on the rise. I don't know if there's a direct correlation between whoever's in office and the prices of things. Like, there was the bird flu and all this other things that caused prices to increase with eggs and stuff. And I think we're seeing eggs go back down. But, don't shop at expensive places. Don't buy name brand foods. I don't do that. Instead of shopping at Whole Foods or Publix, I shop at Aldi's and Costco, and I buy Kirkland brand. Name brand, and then I buy them in bulk, and I inevitably save money. Anywho, I wanted to read a couple of comments that you guys had left on previous videos on the channel, and this one's an interesting one. And if you want to get featured or shouted out in the next episode, definitely make sure to drop a comment down below. And that reminds me, I did just recently open up memberships on the channel, so if you guys want to speedline that process, you can do so by joining the memberships. It's super cheap. Originally, I thought about making a P.O. box, and I just thought it would be too difficult for people that are out of the country and stuff to send letters to me. So I figured this is the easiest way. It's 2025. So now for like 99 cents, I can reply to your comments. I can see who actually wants their comments heard or wants to be shouted out. So definitely make sure to check that out. Yet malls are packed, airports are packed, restaurants are packed, and Disney is packed. Stop spending money or these companies will keep driving up prices. So this is interesting too. People keep complaining about corporate greed, which is certainly there. I am not in any way saying that that does not exist. It does, and it's horrible. But it's also like people, regardless of the cost of living being insane, people are still traveling, shopping. Airports are packed through the roof. I just went to Disney a couple of weeks ago, and it was like bumper to bumper, shoulder to shoulder. So even with, the cost of living being more expensive, people are still blowing their money to go do stuff they want to do. Regardless, luxuries, not necessities. And more than likely, it's all credit card debt. People won't stop until it's too late. Then they'll make sob story videos in their cars crying about their life and admitting the fact that they ran up credit card debt on garbage instead of saving, learning, and investing.
Outside really costs $100 minimum. It's crazy. I leave my house and money just starts evaporating.
Seriously.
I didn't plan to spend anything. I just wanted to get fresh air, maybe touch grass. And now I'm $14 deep in iced latte and contemplating $38 hummus. Mm-hmm. Every social event is a financial ambush now. Let's grab drinks. It sounds cute until you realize that's code for $17 cocktails, $6 sharing fees, and $42 in emotional regret. Even the free plans cost money now. A walk, yeah, cool, until you pass a store and suddenly you need a candle that smells like Scandinavian pine and validation. I don't know. Then someone's like, let's just Uber there. Okay, $28 one way. Should we split an appetizer? Yeah, that's another $18 for 3 decorative bites and a leaf. Yeah, at this point, staying in isn't boring. It's a financial strategy.
It is
I don't
a
even go out
financial
anymore.
strategy.
I budget for the idea of going out. Then I cancel and reward myself with takeout, which still somehow costs $40.
Staying inside is a financial strategy. That's the top comment, and that's pretty smart. Honestly, at this point, I'm so glad that I work from home because my bills are much smaller, aside from water going up and electric going up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's true. God forbid you don't eat before you go to the grocery store. Hundreds of dollars more on things I did not need because I'm hungry and I just buy them. So yeah, there's certainly strategies here that we can try to figure out. Yeah, going out for drinks is always going to cost you money. That's a given. It's always been like that. But what you could do is start prioritizing free hobbies, free habits. Go for a bike ride. I don't know, go for a walk. Go, hiking. There's lots of things that you could certainly do that are free. Go play ball in the park. I don't know. But if you can find certain hobbies instead of like going out for brunch every single week, you will save a significant amount of money. But I get it because we are a product of our environment. And if our friends that we're hanging out with don't care about the same financial independence that you do, it's going to be very hard to go out with them. I see it time and time again when I go out with certain friends and family, and let's say I order less or somebody else I know is trying to save and budget, but majority of the other people that we're with aren't. They kind of look at them odd for wanting to save, wanting to split a meal, not wanting to purchase drinks and just ordering water. It's a very consumeristic world that we live in. And it's sad that you will get judged for being the odd one out when you're trying to better yourself by saving and investing. People think it's weird to do that.
The amount of 18 to 30-year-olds that I see on this app bitching about how unaffordable life is in 2025 is wild to me. And I'm no boomer, I'm 42, but I will tell you there is a noticeable difference between people my age and people 18 to 30 now. And in all of these videos that I've seen, I've deduced it down to one thing. It's an I shouldn't have to mentality. Just this morning, I watched a TikTok of a guy that looked like he was 25 years old, bitching about how unaffordable life was while sitting in the front seat of his car that he then explained in his rant that was costing him $850 per month. He then went on to explain in his rant to boomers that he shouldn't have to work harder or more in order to drive a car that was safe and reliable.
Oh my gosh.
For reference, I'm sitting here in my 2023 Chevy Silverado with 25,000 miles on it after working 16 more years than this guy. And my truck payment is right around $850. Guy.
Which still isn't good. At that point, you should know better at 40-something years old with having 2 decades of work experience under your belt, not to pay $850 a month for a car payment. And that's not even including interest and maintenance and gas on a truck. You're talking about over $1,000+ a month just to get you from A to B. It's mad. That's the only thing I disagree with what he's saying.
You do not need an $850 a month car.
Neither
I'm
do
telling
you.
That is the difference. It's the I shouldn't have to mentality. I was that guy's age. I had a 1-bedroom apartment. And yes, I know 1-bedroom apartments don't cost the same now as they did when I was his age. Shit is more expensive. I get it. But I also worked not 1, but 2 jobs. I didn't have an $850 a month car. I survived on Jack's Pizzas and ramen fucking noodles. While this guy's working maybe 1 job because he shouldn't have to work more than that. Probably eating out and getting DoorDash multiple times a week because he shouldn't have to eat like shit. Blah, blah, blah. It's all the same. What it comes down to is there's a shitload of people who think that they shouldn't have to live within their means to survive. They truly believe that they just deserve to have shit that they can't afford. Basic necessities to live a comfortable life now are $850 a month cars, apartments with stainless steel appliances and quartz fucking countertops, and 24-hour deliverable food. Y'all are soft. I'm not going to tell you need to work harder or more, but if you're not going to work harder or more, at least try to live within your means or learn how to budget. Or coming on TikTok and ranting about how unaffordable shit is from your brand new freaking car.
See, he brings up a lot of interesting points, and he says, you got to try to live within your means. And I think living within your means gets you to live paycheck to paycheck. What you really want to do is live below your means, because then you can save and invest. Living above your means gets you broke and in tremendous amounts of credit card, car payment, and just consumer debt. So there are differences here. I don't like how he also has an $850 car payment because he also has that entitledness too, essentially saying, well, I worked 16 plus years. Now I deserve to have an $850 car payment because I'm older. I can get it. That's no way to get ahead too. But, to each their own. Everybody has different goals. If his main goal is to, not do much and have a massive car payment and have a large truck, so be it. But if somebody wants to be financially free and independent, I don't recommend that. Pay cash for it. If you need to go out and borrow money to purchase something, that means you can't afford it, which is not good, regardless of the interest rate. 0%, 2%, 3%, 10%. It doesn't matter. Now, one thing that I have noticed that is different now than when it was when he was younger is he didn't have social media growing up. We do. And we also have things called instant gratification, where we can see something we like online and it's on our doorstep either the same day or within 2 days, which is insane. Not only that, we can compare ourselves to pretty much everyone across the country or in the world, not just who we're going to high school with. So we're seeing influencers and micro-influencers and celebrities now posting their bougie lifestyle, and we feel like we deserve it too. I get it. Especially as a consumer. You don't know any better. The world we live in, pretty much within the United States, the way it's run, the way businesses are run, is to promote consumerism and get you spending as much money as possible. This is a problem if you're trying to get ahead, but when you grow up in it and nobody tells you otherwise, it's a very easy path to fall into because it's been set up like that. It's been set up for you to walk it. The thing I've noticed is people don't look at the prices of stuff. They just buy what they want, then complain about how much it costs. Look, if I think it's too expensive, I don't buy it before I pay for it. Easy. See, that's the thing. People just don't have financial education. They don't understand how credit cards work, how purchasing things work, how saving is supposed to work, because nothing in our society teaches that. All it teaches us what to do is to just spend our money and to show our personality through the things that we purchase and the things that we wear. That's how we're supposed to show our identity to the world, which is not how it is in other countries. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Save up $100,000 for a down payment on a house. What a time to be alive. Yeah, I mentioned this in a previous video, and some people were just shocked at that. But I don't think it's that unreasonable. If somebody's making $60K a year, after taxes, you're at 40. Let's say after all your expenses, you're at 30. I don't know. You just save $10K a year, which isn't that difficult. It would take you 10 years. And that's being one person, single. Imagine if you had two incomes, you could save it up twice as fast. Work harder for less and don't complain because it does nothing. What kind of message is that? Maybe we should keep complaining and put pressure on companies to prioritize the consumer and not sole profit. They are prioritizing the consumer. That's the problem. Right? This video went in an entirely different direction than I was expecting. Came across like blaming people for these companies' greed instead of blaming the companies. It's a very interesting cycle we live in. Somebody says, agreed. It's sounding like pull up your bootstraps and work harder, boomer type shit. Yeah, I made a video on the cost of living and how everything is becoming unaffordable and very expensive. And I guess people weren't too fond of my answer in regards to me saying like complaining is not going to do anything, at least not in our lifetime. And somebody commented pretty much explaining what I was trying to say. And they said it's more like stop spending money on frivolous things and invest and save, even if it's a little amount per month, or don't have kids at an age where you will for sure struggle. Got to learn to grow with the times. It's not 1950 and never will be. Like things are different here. So it's either you got to sit and complain and nothing's going to happen to you while others find a way to make it work, or you get up and you figure it out, which is all I am trying to say. It's not going to get any easier. Nobody's, unfortunately, in today's day and age, going to come and save you. So you have to find creative ways to work harder and smarter and try to get through it.
Oh, you want to know how bad inflation is? Walmart got you paying $7 for no.
Late-stage capitalism is just a fancy word for not capitalism. It's used to describe how a capitalist society declines over time as companies gain power over the government, control the markets, and ruin the economy. Then the label of late-stage capitalism is put on it to say that capitalism was bad, and this is what happens when you put a capitalist system in place. This is stupid. Do you blame a diet for bad health when you stop eating the diet? If you don't, then stop blaming free market economics for an unhealthy economy when big businesses control legislation so that there is no free market. Yes, corporations have too much influence over government policy, but not because of capitalism. It's just old-fashioned bribery, manipulation, and illegal behavior.
I like that. I like that a lot. To say that billionaires deserve their wealth is ultimate bootlicking. They exploit their workers, lobby to pay less taxes, and pollute the environment. Also, instead of passing on the wealth of their workers by increasing wages, they do stock buybacks, give themselves bonuses, and wage increases for people at the top. If wages kept up with the cost of living, people wouldn't be struggling as much. There's no incentive to pay workers more, though, when they can line their own pockets. And this is a great comment, especially with what we just showed, because what I said in the previous episode was, I like capitalism. At least I like the idea of capitalism, that anyone can just start a business from the ground up, bootstrap it, and you can make it happen. If you have an idea, if you have a thought, if you have the discipline, you can make it work. I'm living proof of it. And so many other people are too. But to attack billionaires for their wealth, I think it goes both ways. And maybe I generalized it too much in the last video. 100% some billionaires, maybe lots of billionaires, hoard wealth or kind of exploit workers or, lobby and pay less tax, whatever it is. And I do not like that. I don't like manipulation. I don't like cheating. I don't like making it unfair. Late stage capitalism, whatever you want to call it. I don't like that. But to generalize that and say that all billionaires don't deserve their wealth, I think is a bit too much. There are obviously plenty of billionaires that do a lot of good in this country. There's plenty that created lots of jobs. There's plenty that donate their wealth and do lots of good things for the community. See, I think money is something that pretty much amplifies or kind of intensifies a person's behavior or their personality. If you're naturally a mad, upset, angry person and you get a hold of money, it's only going to make it worse. And I think if you're a happy, selfless, philanthropic person and you get a lot of money, you're just going to do more good. So I don't like this generalization here. How can you not blame billionaires when they use their fortunes to craft the laws and form virtual monopolies for their benefit and our detriment? They are the embodiment of corporate greed. See, and so is it millionaires? Do we classify millionaires in that too? Is it just billionaires? Like I said with the previous comment, I really think it goes both ways, and I don't like to generalize and financially discriminate against a certain group of people. Not all billionaires are bad. Sure, there are plenty that are bad. Sure, there are plenty that are corrupt. But at the same time, there are plenty that are good, that do a lot of good for the world.
Boomers want to know what it's like being young in 2025? Here it is. I just got off an 8-hour shift at work where I make double minimum wage in my state. I hop in my car, check my banking app. Cool, I've got $50 to last me till next week. Then I remember, oh shit, I have to run to Walmart because the wire in my bra snapped. I don't have underwear because it keeps going missing. My eyelash curler broke and I have no food. I bought 4 things. 4 fucking things and it came out to $40! I'm living off granola bars. But I hop my depressed ass back in my car and I look at my banking app again. Oh cool, I've got $10 now to last me till next week. I try to drive, but my car keeps misfiring. I can't afford to fix that. So I keep on parking, turning off my car, turning it back on until it decides to act right. 30 minutes later, I'm finally heading home to my 4 roommates. I pay $8.50 a month. Now give them that's everything included. But $8.50 a month with 4 roommates. Remember back in the good old days when a man could afford to feed, raise, house his family on minimum wage? And he had a second family on the side who he also housed, fed, and raised. You know what I say to all that? Fuck you. You guys had it so fucking easy and then you destroyed everything behind you. Fuck you.
Who does that? that's how we flick people off in 2025. I think she's a bit delusional. I don't know when men were able to live off minimum wage and pay for a family of 4, house them, feed them, and everything else, and a family on the side. Very interesting. I like one of these comments. It goes, septum ring theory. I'm very curious to what they think about that. Gen Z is the first generation in quite a while that's able to look back on the last several generations and tell them they had it easy. I don't know. I think every generation had their own hardships. I mean, older generations didn't have internet. They didn't have social media. They had to go to the library and look for a book to write their essay on instead of us asking ChatGPT. Like, things are certainly much easier for us. And with that comes newfound problems and things that are harder. Yeah, housing at this point is unaffordable. And that might have been more affordable then. But there are certainly things that boomers and the quiet, silent generation, that they would complain about that was difficult, that the previous generation didn't have. $850 with 4 roommates is unbelievable. There is no hope for us. Honestly, am I crazy to think that that's pretty reasonable? If I was able to get all my living expenses, like utilities, electric, gas, $850, like all included, that's not too bad. Yeah, it's a little annoying to have 4 roommates, but it really, am I the only one that thinks that's not too crazy?
Consumerism is the perfection of slavery. That is the lecture that I just watched from Professor Zhang. He uploads all of his lectures on YouTube. I definitely check him out. But this is something that I was definitely confronted with being offline for 4 years and then coming back on TikTok, was how shocking the overconsumption and overconsumerism was. Definitely met with the face of late stage capitalism in a very frightening way. But he was saying that after World War II, all countries incorporated some tenets of Marxism, whether they coined it as communism or socialism. What they did was prioritize the worker. Because there's no point in prioritizing money. Like, money just begets more money. But focusing on the workers produce more value. They are productive. So they created a society that focused on the worker, providing jobs that would take care of them for their life, unions, good benefits, and eventually that creates a more egalitarian society. So who doesn't like that? The elites. Because what do the elites want? They want more power. They want difference. So in the 80s, the elites then created focus on the consumer rather than the worker. So what does an economy and an ideology that focuses on the consumer promise you? Rather than a good job that will take care of you and provide you health benefits and a good life and a good way to take care of your family, it focuses on affordable goods and a variety of goods to buy. By focusing on consumer goods, you kind of create a keeping up with the Joneses society. You create competition, and then you're no longer a union of workers or a community of people. You individualize each person because you want difference, and through goods you're able to create tangible difference. When he says it's the perfection of slavery, it's like we're now slaves to the hamster wheel of working so that we can buy more things. We don't even realize that we're slaves to this system or ideology that was set up for us. There is no end. Like, the goalpost just keeps moving. And so this fragmentation of the union of workers and the community of people, I think really makes us perfect consumers, in the sense that the American dream is a nuclear family who lives in their own homes rather than multi-generational homes, which is how we were primitively living in tribes. And that kind of makes us the perfect consumer, because everyone then needs their own house, their own appliances, their own furniture, their own dishware, their own kitchenware. Like, it just creates surface area for more things to be bought. That's what he means by the perfection of slavery. Is you don't even see that your goals and the dreams and what you envision for yourself is set up in this consumerist ideology. And I think TikTok and social media specifically create such a lack of an understanding of the self, or a development of the self, because you're constantly chasing these trends. You don't understand who you really are. Like, that creates a perfect consumer, is these people who will just keep buying trends and keep buying things to create some sort of identity for themselves. Wow. And you can follow someone's aesthetic and you can build your own personhood, but it's not actually yours. It's just built on things that you buy and things that you invest in to create some sense of identity for yourself. I think consumerism promises us things that were already like inherently in our right before, which is acceptance from society, respect, admiration, like things that used to be set on family orientation or lineage or reputation or character, like, or accomplishment even. Like, now they're set in the consumption of goods. And I think it's really sad for me to be online and see so many people truly not know who they are and try so desperately to find it through the vessel of products and goods. Truly, when you focus on developing your own selfhood, you really don't need to buy that many things. But it is sad to come back on here and see like how disillusioned like the majority of people are. Yeah, it's kind of scary out here.
So essentially what she is saying is people have shifted away from reflecting internally to show their identity to others, their character, their personality, achievements, accomplishments, things that I guess don't cost money. And, elitists and major corporations have kind of set us up and brainwashed us, manipulated us indirectly, and convinced us to believe that in order for us to show off our identity, it's through externally doing so, showing others what we have. And they did so in a way which is an endless cycle of constantly moving the goalpost through fast fashion and trends and things, as we've talked a lot on this channel, constantly being replaced with other trends, fads getting replaced with other fads, things constantly going out of season, inevitably keeping you in a constant consumer loop and just constantly draining your bank account of all the money you have. Because, think about it. Everyone wants to keep up with the Joneses. Everyone wants to have the newest car, the newest phone, the newest watch, the newest subscriptions, the newest clothing, the newest Stanley, the newest purse. And they all go out of style after a couple of months, and then we're on to the next one, and people keep up with it. That's the attention people get. Ooh, that looks so good. Ooh, I wish I had that. And it essentially keeps you poor because you keep spending it. So I wanted to take this a bit further, and I asked ChatGPT this question. Did elitists in the late 80s switch from focusing on making the best worker to making the best consumer? And I said, yes. In a broad sociological and economic sense, there was a real shift in elite and institutional focus during the late 1970s to late 80s from producing disciplined, productive workers to cultivating compliant, consumption-oriented consumers. The earlier focus, so get this, creating the ideal worker. So from roughly 1940 to 1970, after World War II, the Western economic model revolved around industrial capitalism, the Industrial Revolution. Education, media, and corporate culture were designed to produce obedient, efficient, loyal workers, people who could fit into a hierarchical organization like factories and bureaucracies. The American dream promised stability through labor. Get a job, work hard, buy a home. That's what my parents told me because that's when they were born. The elite, corporate, academic, and governmental planners emphasized discipline, productivity, and conformity to maintain economic growth, to fit in. And we see this a lot, and we're seeing that, dynamic in that shift right at this moment where we're having our industrial revolution get replaced with a digital revolution. And we're right now in the middle, and it's becoming very difficult because people are going to college to essentially join what they're describing as hierarchical organizations, factories, bureaucracies, and stuff, corporate 9-to-5 jobs. And the people of my generation that are doing that are then seeing social media and seeing all these influencers live a life that looks great. And the reason being is because companies have shifted their form of advertisement to personal branding. So we're kind of caught in the crossfire between this cultural shift and this revolution from industrial to digital. So instead of focusing on what they're saying as, labor, we're now seeing the focus on personal branding. So we're seeing a lot of unhappy people that are going to college and not seeing the results that they were expecting because society has moved on onto a different revolution, the digital revolution, a different style of doing business. Then it says the turning point in the late 1970s and 1980s. As manufacturing declined and globalization rose, the economy shifted from production to consumption. Deindustrialization moved manufacturing overseas, selling experiences, lifestyles, and desires, not just goods. Then we had a culture industry shift. The culture industries, TV, fashion, music, marketing, began shaping citizens less as producers and more as brand loyal consumers. Advertising psychology matured. Brands began to sell identity, not just products. Credit cards and personal debt exploded, fueling the consumer economy. Higher education became less about civic virtue and technical skill and more about lifestyle signaling.
You're telling me there's an influencer who's complaining about paying a mortgage when she used to make $350,000 a month?
Oh my gosh.
That's more than doctors.
Yeah, it's a lot more.
I'm sorry. I can't feel bad. Girl, financial literacy. I get, kind of being done with your money, but that dumb? Do you have anything to add? Don't be done with your money. Sell your toe beans, please. Help a girl out.
That's not just a little bit more than a doctor's salary. That's like his entire yearly salary she made in a month. And what does that tell you? Lifestyle creep, like we said it before and we'll say it again, is at this point, no matter how much money you give most people, they're going to find a way to spend it all. They're every time they get a raise, they're going to match their lifestyle to it, and they're going to be right where they started, paycheck to paycheck or broke. There are people that make $150,000 a year, $300,000 a year that live paycheck to paycheck. And then there are people that make $40K a year and somehow manage to save $10,000 a year. And it all comes down to consumerism, which is what we're talking about. So yes, life is unaffordable. Yes, things are becoming more expensive than what they once were. But we are also at the same time seeing a huge push towards consumerism, which is what I think is the main issue here. Because inflation and the cost of living, it's gone up, but it isn't like that insane. You know what I'm saying? Like that crazy. But what has is consumerism and the need to, show off our identity through the things that we buy. And that's the problem. Anywho, that's going to be it for today's episode. Hopefully it didn't run that long, but if you guys have anything to add, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. And if you haven't seen the previous video on how life is becoming too expensive, then definitely make sure to check it out right after this. Peace.